What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys, back yet again. More Halo Wars 2 action. And what you're seeing on the screen, it's not fake, it's real. Sergeant Johnson, just spoiled, is going to be the new UNSC Leader, DLC Leader coming out. And we got some additional news. So, posted a video yesterday talking about coming out next week. During the stream, just finished up with Sketch. They talked about early next week, and then as the stream continued, they said hopefully Monday. It passed cert, passed everything, so hopefully we're seeing it Monday. We'll get the Monday hype going. But Sergeant Johnson, that's it. Now we're going to roll through the cards. We're going to roll through this pretty quick and furious. I want to give you guys a good look at what we got coming out. Mantis is essentially Sergeant Johnson's special unit. There's going to be some different variations of them. You got the standard one at 80 energy, which looks pretty cool. It essentially kind of replaces the Warthog. They are pretty slow. Mech Overdrive, one of the first leader powers we're seeing, which speeds them up, which is actually super helpful because, again, they are pretty slow, but also gives them invulnerability for a few seconds. This actually lasts, I would say, a few seconds. They used it during the Blitz match. I would say you get maybe 10 seconds. Once the update drops, we'll definitely give you more specifics on it. But looks like a pretty decent leader power. And again, all mechs, so it's pretty cool. So again, you're going to see the regular Mantis at 80. Next up, I think we should see the veteran here coming up at 100. We have the Emp Mac Blast, so essentially the same thing as a Mac Blast. It'll pop up here in a second, but it's also going to do a brief stun to enemy vehicles and aircraft. Now this is also going to come in during regular multiplayer, and it's also going to give a buff to your friendly vehicles and aircraft. I don't know if we get the same buff in Blitz, but definitely we'll see the leader tree here in multiplayer in just a few minutes, so stick with me as we roll through these Blitz cards. But pretty cool. Also, you gotta love just having a direct damage power. And then the Colossus, kind of a super upgraded version of the mech, of the Mantis. It has a stomp ability, which we didn't get to see, but think of it probably similar to kind of the Reaver Stomp. This thing is absolutely huge, and I can say these guys seem to be pretty well balanced. I see the Colossus obviously has a little bit of a weakness to air, but as they were using them a little bit, it seems like they're generally pretty good, and I think they'll be well positioned. And again, more freshness, new units is always super exciting. As you guys could probably tell, I'm really hyped for this. Sergeant Johnson is somebody, again, that people have been talking about, kind of speculating on, and the fact that we're finally getting it, I'm super excited about it. So another one of the leader powers, which actually could be super good, is going to be Bunker Drop. Drops in a big bunker with actually has a shield, I think 3 bars, quite a few health bars, infinite time on this, and then you can garrison the initial drop. At least in Blitz was 4 units. In multiplayer they said you can upgrade it, I think once, to garrison even more, but 4 infantry units in this thing. It has a lot of health, and it's going to be pretty good, and I can see this definitely being something that gets used in strategies as people learn about how to use Sergeant Johnson. Another leader power super excited for, the Siege Turret drop. I think this is going to be absolutely awesome. A really long timer on this. I would say close to 2 minutes or so. Again, just watching the stream, they called it in. I was trying to pay attention as much as I could, but it's essentially a siege turret like you would find in a normal multiplayer. Great amount of damage, just all around good, and good lifespan, like I said. We got the veteran Mantis, which is essentially the same thing as the Mantis, except we have the shield, definitely more upgraded. It's definitely got a better main weapon system. I think you get more consistent missile fire from it, and then obviously the shield, more health, more damage, just what we can expect from every veteran level unit, and not too much more energy. So I think that's going to be something we'll keep an eye on. And then obviously Sergeant Johnson running in his green machine, the mech. So not a ton of abilities here, only run and shield. Look like pretty standard hero health from what I was able to see. The repair beacon, though, is really what impressed me. So essentially, we'll see gameplay of it here in just a second, but essentially drops an AoE healing beacon down that heals multiple units, and actually lasts a good bit. I would say 20 seconds or so. Does a good amount of health. So Sergeant Johnson seems like one of those heroes that's actually going to stick around. 220 energy, I think very fair. They jumped into a new Blitz reskin is again what we're calling it here. We've got the Nocturne version, so it is kind of cool to see a little bit different visual style. And yeah, again, super excited for this. We're going to see a little bit of Blitz gameplay just so you guys can check out the units. Just understand this was Blitz Firefight, so some of the damage output, especially initially, they're not going to be quite this good because the waves are a little shorter. But here's your standard Mantis. Just off the set, he gets one of his starting leaders. We didn't get to see his starting armies is 3 of the mechs. Didn't really get to see if they're what the second army option was, but I'm sure it's a mix of a Mantis and some other stuff. We're going to go through here. I think we get to see one of the bunkers here pretty quickly, which is again why I want to keep a little bit of this in, just a few minutes of the gameplay in case you guys couldn't check this stream. Again, there's the Emp Mac Blast. Here's the bunker drop, which again I really think, especially if you're going to try to play some Blitz Firefight, if you're looking to play Blitz period and you want to really start to set up and fortify, a couple bunker drops with some Marines in them. I mean, these things, they have a ton of health. I was really surprised. I mean, look at that. A shield and health. You can put 4 units into it. I mean, it's just impressive. Honestly, I was very, very surprised that it had as much health as it did. And the fact that it stays around, there's no timer on it. So it's going to stay, you can drop it anywhere, essentially that pad can fit. You can put it right on a point, which they do a little bit later. So really, really cool to see. And again, just a little bit of Blitz gameplay here. We're kicking off here, just seeing them take down a few units. Again, I think rate of fire, pretty solid. Again, you get some missile ability, so their capability to attack, they really don't have too much of a weakness to anything. So I think these are going to be, again, a pretty good overall, all-around unit. They really do some pretty good damage against vehicles, which obviously is going to be one of their main proponents of being used. So I think we'll be able to see some interesting stuff here. We got Sergeant Johnson getting called in again. It looks like generally pretty standard health and shields. He seems to be pretty quick. I would say maybe slightly slower than a Spartan or about the same pace just from what we can tell here. But again, I think it's going to be his hero unit ability that healing capability that's just going to be really good. Now it's kind of hard to notice, but what I want you to look at is look over at kind of at that energy above and just below the blue spawn. You can kind of see the small red trapezoid. We're finally seeing the friendly area marker. So you can see what your friends are seeing. I think this is absolutely awesome. Again, something that we've been asking for. There is that healing aura right there. Kind of they call it a disco ball. I think it's pretty cool actually. But I mean, it's a good AoE. Lasts for quite a while, as you guys can see. Healing multiple units at the same time. So again, I think that's going to be really neat. But again, on that friendly view marker, you can see it kind of floating around down at the spawn point now. I just think that's awesome, something that we've been asking for. Here's the siege turret getting called in, and again, this thing lasts for quite a while. Good damage, pretty standard for what we would expect from a siege turret. And I can see this honestly, in firefight. Kodiaks and siege turrets would be awesome. Honestly, in regular Blitz, I think you might want to save yourself the 10 energy and just call the siege turrets in based on how they last. Now, obviously, health and stuff like that dependent, but they have a pretty good amount of health too. So it'll be really interesting to see how we go here. And that's your first look at the Colossus in game. Super cool looking, just a beast of a mech. It's really awesome. So. Yeah, again, very excited for this. So that's a little bit of a look at some of the Blitz, and we'll jump right over into regular multiplayer. Alright, so we're in regular multiplayer, and here in just a second we're going to the leader tree. So we got remote sensors, which increases the line of sight for all building and capture points, so I think that's pretty cool. We got restoration drones just below that. Remote sensors, interesting passive power, just gives you the capability a little bit to see a little bit more map. I think Johnson feels like he's kind of on a little bit of the turret and base side of things, especially for multiplayer, and we'll see that in here a few of the other leader powers. So again, restoration drones, as you guys have come to see. Just after that, digging in. Once he goes back to it here, digging in, which adds a health and siphoning ability to turrets. which is really interesting. Also turret drops, so we'll bring it back up here in just a second. To standard turrets, it also reduces cost of bunker and turret drops. So I think that's really good. I mean, the turrets, the capability to take some health away just is going to increase their longevity, and I think that's going to be another really good passive power, and the fact that you can upgrade it again an additional point is really cool. We got bunker drop, which again we've seen, so you get a secondary drop here. Now, interesting to note, it does cost population, but there's only 3 population space, so just keep that in mind. Here we have the Emp Mac Blast, which again fires that Mac round, which disables enemy air and vehicles, but also boosts the damage over your friendly air and vehicles. Again, I think going to be really good. I'm sure that the damage is scalable a little bit comparative to regular Mac Blast, but still the additional effects could be awesome. We got Pelican Transport, which again I think everybody's pretty used to. The fact that it doesn't require vision is pretty cool. We've got the siege drop, siege turret drop, which again I like that it's later in the wheel, but again, very cool, very interesting, definitely going to help take down some bases. You've got your mech overcharge here, which again giving your mechs invulnerability as well as a speed boost, so really cool there. I think we have combat salvage, yep, just above that, so pretty neat. Obviously you're going to be mech focused. I think combat salvage is going to be absolutely huge. And then the big one that a lot of people are talking about is digging in deep, which allows you to purchase to construct any base building slot for free. Any base building slot for free. So obviously pretty late into the game, but the fact that you can just start to pump bases and just start creating things with no resource cost to you, I think is going to be one of those things that's just huge late game. So he's cranking out Sergeant Johnson here. They can add a smart missile. He adds a small aura healing ability, and he has an additional upgrade after that. We've got a few more upgrades as well that we'll see here in just a second for the Mantis as well as the Colossus, which are both built from the garage, as we would pretty much expect them to be. So I think right here again we have the Mantis. That first upgrade gives it a missile launcher pod, which is actually going to be pretty good. Interestingly enough, we get an additional upgrade with the Mantis after this, so it's nice to see. You got the Colossus there down, which requires headquarters level 3. Boom, there's your first look at the multiplayer Mantis. Just really cool. I'm really excited for these units, to be really honest with you guys. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. Super excited for these guys. Sergeant Johnson, he already called in there, so we got him rolling. And again, so that's just a quick look. Wanted to do the leader tree. Want to take a quick look at some of the upgrades for multiplayer. Digging in deep again, I think is going to be. It has the potential to be really awesome. Obviously, it's pretty deep, pretty later on into the tree, but at the same time, if you play a little bit more of an extended game, you get kind of into a later game. I can definitely see Sergeant Johnson having some survivability, and that's kind of what it seems like he is generally built around too. The fact that he's got siege turrets, he's got some of these awesome Mantis and some of these Colossus, and his leader itself actually obviously prepped to continue the fight. So super excited about this. Really happy to get the first look for you guys. If it does release on Monday, whatever day it releases on, we will be doing a stream. We will be covering it all. We'll get into some Blitz. We'll open some card packs. We'll take a look at all of that. So stay tuned to the channel. I've been Doc with the Average Gamer, guys. Thank you guys so much for the support. As always, if you're new, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Definitely follow us on Twitter. We also have the Xbox Average Gamer Guys Club. Feel free to join there. As soon as the update drops, I will let you know on all those platforms. Additionally, we'll put out the details for when we're going to do our stream for the leader drop. Again, Sergeant Johnson, it's going to be absolutely awesome. So hopefully you guys will hang out with us for all of that. And if you can't, again, make sure to subscribe, follow us on the channel, and you'll be able to check it all out once we get everything uploaded. And then, as we always do, moving forward, we got a lot of content coming. We'll cover all the different units. We'll do our statistics. We'll update our spreadsheet. Those of you that have been around definitely know. So stay tuned for that. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll check you in the next one.